the end of the Dojo Fruit Store assignment, we had you add a print statement to your checkout method and then just check your terminal. So let's do that together using the code that we've been using throughout this chapter. So I'm going to run my server code and I'll pull it up here. And let's add a statement in here similar to what we added to our Dojo Fruit Store, saying something like adding user and whatever the username is from the form to the database. So now when I run that code and I go to localhost 5000, I pull up my form and let's add my dog and I submit it. So this is great, but now when I hit refresh, say for example the user just kind of forgets what they were doing, hits the refresh button, and they don't understand this message, so they say continue. Before I hit this, let's look at our terminal. So what it says is it added Bruce to the database with the following information. So let's hit continue, and notice what happens is it adds Bruce to the database again. So this highlights why we don't want to render after a post request. So again, let's look here. What we mean is this is the method that is receiving the post request. What we don't want to do at the end of it is return a render template, because when we do that, we're giving the user access to this whole method that they can then refresh and rerun again. And if it's something that's affecting our database, say, or charging a credit card or something like that, that's not something that we want them to be able to do over and over again. And so instead of rendering here, what we're going to do is redirect to a method whose goal is only to do the rendering. So instead of directly returning this render template, we will instead return a redirect. And when we redirect, this is just a string that it takes as an argument, but it needs to be the route of a method of a get, and it will be a get request. So in this case, since we have a separate page that we want to show afterwards, we can have this route. So then that will come to here, and then we need a function that will show results. And in this one, let's go ahead and render the template. Let's take this part out for now just to see, does this page work? Does this movement from here to here work? So let's try that. So we'll go back to the main page. Let's enter cat. Whoop, I forgot to define redirect. So that means I forgot to import it right up here. So let's go back to the main page and do that again. And now when I hit submit, I check my terminal and it added fits to the database. And notice now when I do a refresh, the only thing that's happening is it's just re-requesting the show method. And nothing particularly interesting is happening in this method. I'm not doing anything to the database. I'm not charging anything. So this is the only part that is being refreshed, which is safe. But then let's put back what we had before. What about this information? We just went from here to here. So let's see if we are able to maintain that. So let's come back here and do my other cat. Uh-oh. So it doesn't understand what username is. So this leads to another error that we'll talk about in the next chapter to understand. But this is why we redirect, and in the next section we'll talk about how we can maintain that information across different requests.